Hey there, Heather, ho there, Chef Kidder Diamond. Welcome to yet another second and 10 football thing. We're doing the 1970s NFL tournament now, as we already did the pre 1950s. We did the 50s tournament and we did the 60s. Now we got to the 1970s. We had 16 teams. How you get in is a little more complex from the 70s onwards. All 10 Super Bowl winners, the Super Bowl winners from 1971 to 1980. Yeah, of course, it's a little messed up. Football fans know the 70 Baltimore Colts, for example, went to Super Bowl in 1971. But yeah, and because the 69 Vikings, there are Vikings in Super Bowl 4 in 1970 represented the 69 season, that is, they're disqualified, of course. So all 10 Super Bowl winners, that would be in order from 1971 to 1980. That would be Baltimore, Dallas, Miami, Pittsburgh, Oakland, Pittsburgh. All got in. And then I got to find 6 runners up and all that. To qualify easily as a runner up, you had to be a franchise that went to the Super Bowl but never won it. So, thus, Washington went to only one Super Bowl in the 70s, the 72 team that lost to the Super Bowl 7 perfect team of Miami. They easily got in. Minnesota had one team. Well, Minnesota got in. The 76 team got in because Minnesota didn't win a Super Bowl, but I picked their best team of the 1970s, and the 76 team was better. The Rams, they only went to one Super Bowl in the 70s, so that's why their 79 team was one of the wild cards. So that made 3 runners up because, well, sorry, 3 of the 6 runners up. Denver as well only lost one Super Bowl, so and they went to one Super Bowl and lost, so they got one of the wild card spots. And then I went through Dallas. They needed one Super Bowl losing team to get in, and in a sense. So yeah, so I had to go through a lot of things and all that. So we had to have 2 games simulated because of the differences. 77,000, 78,000 were almost the same. 77 team, the team that won Super Bowl 12 beat the team that lost Super Bowl 13, 13 to 10 in overtime, and the team that won Super Bowl 13 beat the team that won Super Bowl number 9, 17 to 13. So those 2 games are simulated. So we kind of have a shortened schedule today. We are going to be doing the Lost Art of Pittsburgh versus Dallas as the last matchup of the day. So that means we go east to west, as we always do. And we start in Baltimore. We're going to start in Baltimore. 73 Dolphins and the 70 Colts are going to battle each other first. Yes, there's a baseball diamond there because they shared the stadium with the Baltimore Orioles. I believe in the 70s season they got to World Series B since they finally got the ring. Joining you at pivot after his injury and Earl went down to court. 2 weeks earlier, he's at pivot. Norm Bueller and Jerry Hill started at running back. Eddie Hinton, Roy Jefferson, Tom Mitchell started receivers because they rotate. Bob Fogel, Glenn Wessler, Bill Curry, Dan Sullivan, and Sam Ball are your goal line. For the 73 Dolphins defensively, it is Thurman Harder, Manny Fernandez, Bob Hines, and Bill Stanfield. Part of the defense. No Billy Conti today. He's hurt. So Matheson has to come with Doug Swift and Mike Cohen to start. Tim Foley, Jake Scott, Dickie Anderson, and Curly Johnson are your DBs. The 70 Colts, the Super Bowl 5 champions, the team that finally got the Super Bowl, over Super Bowl 5 since London vote for too many turnovers and all that. Baltimore won, Joe O'Brien is your third and 1. They got it. God.
Timeout defense.
Norm Evans, Larry Little, Jim Langer, Jim Burton, and Wayne Moore are your offensive line. Guard the Colts. Bubba Smith, Brad Miller, Billy Ray Smith, Sweet, and Corey Colton are your offensive line. Mike Curtis, Bobby Grant, and Ted Hendricks, the Max Stroke, and linebackers. Tony Maxwell, Rick Folk, Jerry Logan, Charlie Scoots, DBs. This team is not the team that went 17. That's the 72-73 Dolphins. These are the Super Bowl 8 winning Dolphins who beat up on Minnesota because, frankly, Minnesota's offense sucked.
Timeout, defense. First down. Flag on the play. Pass interference. Defense. First down. First down. Offense.
That's when you thought the game was over. Well, that's ready. Wow.
Kick is good.
Holy shit. But 70 yards for Baltimore. And Jim McBride in position for 3 points. They can win the game. They have 2 timeouts.
First down. Timeout offense. Flag on the play. False start. Offense. Timeout offense.
That turnover just hurt them. That's 10-9 without any turnovers. Wow. Nice 20 for 42, 12 and pick. Well, actually, it'll be very good points in Baltimore forever. Touchdown, and that was Fernandez's touchdown. Fumble return. Greasy 8 for 28, 109. Man, that would be amazing. Boy, oh boy, Miami. Baltimore, all they had to do was just running the ball, then Bullock bumps into the defender, and Manny Fernandez scores a touchdown. Wow, look at all those punts. Miami had 9 punts. Baltimore punted the ball 5 times. Recap, all that. Bill Conti was not available, but they still won the game 10-9. Wow, what a game. What a game. Wow. Now let's head to... Oh, we can't do Miami yet. 72 Miami yet because they kind of have to cool down. That's right. They got to cool down. Now we'll head to Pittsburgh. And one of my favorite theme songs of all time. Of course, I have to cut it off at a certain time because YouTube doesn't like it. They take on 72 Washington. Here we go.
Football team. We cheer the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Billy Kilmer, Roy Brown, not the basketball coach of Trny. Your running backs. Charlie Taylor, Roy Jefferson. He played for Washington just after Baltimore. Okay, Jerry Smith, tight end. Offensive line for the 72 Skins are Walter Watt, Paul Levesque, Landhaus, John Gilbert, Terry Kimberly. Pittsburgh, their D-line is John Benethak, me, Joe Clean, Gary Dunn, and Gus Greenwood, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, and Dennis Winston are your linebackers. Al Blunt, Mike Meiker, Donnie Shell, and Ron Johnson are the DBs. 72 Skins, Super Bowl 7 losers. That's the team that actually lost to the Dolphins, who had the improbable season, the perfect season. And let's not forget that Washington actually were favored by 7 points. Did you not know that? Here we go. It is round 4.
False start. Offense. Flag on the play. Flipping. Receiving team.
That's 12-yard line. Blocking the back. So, Harry Bradshaw, David, the number 1 overall pick. But you didn't know he was the number 1. Franco Harris is in the part of Missouri, running back, blocking the ball. John Stallworth, Jim Smith Jr., Benny Cunningham, third receiver. Yes, one's on that team, but Offensive line, Larry A. Brown. It's funny, he got 2 Larry Browns. Larry Brown's chicken. Sam Davis, Mike Webster, Jerome Wilson, Johnny Cole. That one was Canadian. Washington's D line, Matt Ron McDowell, Bill Brunridge, Dixon Talbot, and Frank Biggs. Harold McClinton, Chris Hamburger, not Hamburger, and future Washington coach Jack Kirby, and linebackers Mike Bass, Rosie Taylor, Rick Owens, and Pat Fisher are newbies. This is the team Super Bowl 14 champ Pittsburgh that beat Houston in a very close AFC title game, which actually was really because Mike Renfro played without a touchdown catch and bounce. He would have had to beat the Ricos round. It wasn't. Pittsburgh actually were trailing the Rams after 3 quarters of the game. They got that ball first.
First down. Flag on the play. Illegal formation. Offense.
Swan didn't play today. He was not available. Well, this is one. Her. So yeah, that was big. Now we had 2. Technically, is 72 Miami done? Might have to go to Pittsburgh. We can't do Pittsburgh yet. Yeah, Miami will have 72 Miami will have to play right now against the 77 Broncos. Yep. They're not doing this.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen.
Hey, Mike. That's 20-yard line. Earl the Pro Whirl had pitted for the 17 Dolphins. Well, he had to come in after 5 preseasons and 7 weeks before, and then was a 5 year. But yeah, he was the quarterback that led Miami to the Super Bowl and then 5 preseasons. First Duncan Murphy Morris for the 3-headed force with from kicker. Paul Warfield, Harlan Briscoe, and Jim Manager Tools. Norm Evans, Larry Little, Jim Leonard, Bob Kuchberg, and Doug Cusack, and that's why. Denver's D-line is Marty Chavis, Ruben Carter, and Lyle Alcedo. Got Lyle Alcedo, poor guy. He Sherwood. 4 linebackers: Joe Rizzo, Randy Granishard, Tom Jackson, out of the East Game Room, and Bob Simpson. Larry Riley, Billy Taunton, Bernard Jackson, and Lou Wright are your defensive backs. The 72 Dolphins versus the Bremen team, 17-14 game of the season. They were 14-4, 2 playoff wins, 16 on Champagne.
First down. First down.
Craig Morgan, that kid from Denver, the guy who broke away from Dallas. They couldn't have one in Ansel, Morgan went to Denver by the name of Giants. Curtis Armstrong and Ernie Perrin will run the ball. David Moses, Jack Dolman, and Carly and receivers. No Andy Maverick attacked some shingle multiple minutes. Tom Buzzard. Oh, to there. Mike Mockler, Paul Howard, Claude Weiner, Miami's D-Line. Bergen Harder, Bob Heinzman, Fernandez, Paul Stampo. The linebackers, Nick Bucanti, healthy enough for this. Austin, Doug Swift, and Meg Cola. Curtis Johnson, Nick Anderson, Jake Scott, and Tim Foley are your DBs. The 77 Broncos, the Orange Crush defense helped them get to Super Bowl 12, although they got lucky on it against Oakland. That Oakland thought they had the stupid score, a touchdown, but they said it was down at the one. Big mistake. Well, Denver gets their ass kicked by Dallas, and Craig Gordon has this from team. 19-1. 14. Not the money.
Defense. Touchdown, Broncos. That's good.
Second quarter, 7-0.
Touchdown, Dolphins. Holding. Offense. Good.
Miami has the Dolphins.
Illegal use of hands. Holding. Offense. Defense.
yards on that one. So trying to run Miami out.
Timeout. Defense.
No timeout.
Flag on the play. Holding. Offense.
Should be fine. And lost. Denver took 4 turnovers, they still won. Morrow 10 for 18, 190 and a touchdown. Morton 13 for 22, 171, 2 touchdowns. Odom 2 touchdowns, and Morton Delido. Morrow still for a touchdown, 107. Guys, 4 chances for Denver, 1 for Miami. Recap: Jansen and Miller out for Denver. Howard Twilley, good receiver for Miami, out. That could have made the difference. I think it would have. So now, are they going to go to Los Angeles first or no? No, 75 Pittsburgh, Dallas is the last one. Well, Dallas has to go first. Yeah, 71 Dallas has to go first because they got players that have to play for the 75 team. They go to Oakland.
Flag on the play. Holding. Receiving team.
Mark Van Egan and Clarence Davis are running backs. Cook Branch, sticky hands for Glenn Coffin goes to the post. Dave Casper. Tight end. On offense, it's Art Shell, Gene Upshaw, Dave Dalby, George Bueller, John Fallon. Dallas's D-line is Larry Cole, Jeff Cole, Billy, and Coach Andrew. Linebackers, Dave Evers, Chuck Halley, Steve Miller, Jr. Or Batterly, Cliff Harris. We're not reading Mel Renfro. Anyway, Oakland, the Super Bowl 11 winners, the team of well-back Billy Brown. Pick 6. And of course, Jack Tatum's hit on Steve Thomas. Hit on one Minnesota player. 6 yards there. Cowboys.
Good.
Bears get the touchdown Stamford win. Finally, Dallas is offense. Last year, the Dodgers ball back at pivot. Wayne Thomas, Wayne Garrison. Paul Garrison, excuse me. The running backs Bob Hayes, both Bob Hayes, that is. Argene Atkins and Billy Truax are the receivers. Rob Bealey, Lane Nye, Dave Manders, John Island, and Rayfield Ray are your offensive line. Oakland's D-line, John Massachusetts, Dave Wood, Ortiz, Traffic Food, and Pitts in front. 4 linebackers, Willie Hall, Bill Piano, from NFL Network. Tony Johnson, Oakland. Matt Stewart, Ted Hendricks. Old Man Willie Brown, Coach Atkinson, Jack Tatum. That Super Bowl hit on Sammy White. So he great until he was anything else against the Pats and Skip Thomas. The 71 Cowboys were the Super Bowl 7 champions. That decimated Miami in first Buccaneers would take a 29-yard sack.
Flag on the play. False start. Offense.
red zone in the second quarter.
Touchdown, Raiders. Flag on the play. Cooking. Receiving team. Touchdown, Cowboys. Holding. Offense.
Oh, that's a touchdown. Last
Touchdown, Cowboys.
Oh, they get the touchdown pass.
He's good. Flag on the play. Pass interference. Defense. Touchdown, Cowboys. That's good. Touchdown, Cowboys. Good. Touchdown, Cowboys. Extra point is good. Touchdown, Raiders. First down. Timeout, defense.
7. They'll call timeout because
Welcome the kicker. Defense. First down.
15 yards. That was 15 possession. Ooh, mistake. They would have to fight again.
Flag on the play. Illegal use of hands. Offense. Timeout, defense. Timeout, defense.
They had not done the roughing the kicker thing, then they would have had 2 timeouts.
First down. First down.
Starbucks like, on the road. Stabler. Stabler, 27 for 44, 2 touchdowns for picks. 1-8 running for Frank Thomas. Staubach, 8 for 22, 148, 3 touchdowns. How the hell do you throw 3 touchdowns and you only have 8 touchdowns? Arley at the pick 6. That was the only time Staubach could throw for a touchdown or run in it themselves. Well, nicely done. 35-23. 5 trips to the red zone for Dallas. Rookie recap for all that. Everlong played in Dallas for 35-23. I'm just looking at the point. 35 points. Every game up to this point. The 5 games before this game didn't even have 35 combined points. 79 Pittsburgh won 10-0. That was only 10 points. The Battle of Pittsburgh had 30 points. The Battle of Dallas had 23 points. Miami-Baltimore had 19. And Denver-Miami had 31. So the San Francisco Cowboys scored 35 by themselves. Think about it. All right, on to Los Angeles. As Minnesota will take on the Rams next. Targeted at pivot. Chuck Foreman, Sammy Johnson will run the ball. Ahmad Rashad, you know from NBC with Sammy White, edge 2-point receivers. Ron Yuri, Charlie Goodrum, good Coke-Cola, guys in Coca-Cola. Tinkeloff, Ed White, and Steve Riley are offensive line. That's for sure. My head. Why did I make that? Anyway, the Rams. D-line is Jack Youngblood, Larry Brooks, Mike Fanning, Fred Dreyer, a new Bob Brzezinski, or Delvin, yes. Jim Youngblood and Hacksaw Jack Reynolds. Oh, the linebackers. Dwayne Osteen, who played for the Argos in the NFL. Dave Almerdolf, Nolan Cromwell. I think it was a Razorback, was he? Maybe. Rod Perry. The 76 Vikings chosen as one of the other 2 Super Bowl losers. The Super Bowl 8 and 9 losers both had elite offenses. At least the San Francisco Vikings had good offense. Well, that's why they got the lead. Despite the loss to Oakland. 3rd and 10. Rams get the ball at 37. Ed Hayden, the USC star quarterback in the 70s, is pivot. Wendell Tyler and Elvis Peacock. What a name. Preston Denner, Run Jesse, Charlie Young are your receivers to start with. Doug France, Kent Hill, Rich Saul, Dennis Hara, and Jackie Slater. The other man. That's line. Minnesota's D-line. The Purple People Eaters of Marshall, Sylvan, Page, and Eller are not there. Eller is hurt, so Mulaney will have to come in and play. Matt Blair, Ollie Hilkenberg, and Jeff Seaman. Simon. Linebackers, add your DBs, Nate Gray, Jeff Wright, no relation. Pope House, and Nate Allen. Anyway, the Cincinnati Rams. The Rams were always known for blowing the playoff opportunity, especially against the Vikings, but this year they didn't. They actually went into Dallas and shocked Roger Staubach. Was that the last game Staubach played? I think that they were in the season. I can't remember. But yeah, the Rams went to Tampa, beat the Bucks, who surprised everyone by making the AFC title game. And then, of course, they lost the Super Bowl to the Steelers.
Flag on the play. Offsides. Defense.
I thought so.
Flag on the play. Offense.
Yep. Not so fast.
False start.
That's 7-0
Offense.
for the Vikings.
It's good. First down. It's good.
Never know. So with the ball, still 13-0. Nope. Left it.
Touchdown. Rams.
I love
Keep it good.
It is not over yet, guys. It's not over. 2 yards. All timeout. Very nice. They call for it. Hayden 25 for 38, 217, but 3 interceptions. Tarkenton 17 for 31, 228. So we have targets Flash, Cox, and then Hayden and Jesse. Feel bad for the Rams. 3 red zone trips and they got a touchdown. 5 for well, Carl Eller can't pick Minnesota. Yeah. So that game is over. He had 20 points. Oof. I mean, look at the 76 Raiders, 23 points in their loss. The Battle of Dallas had 23 points combined. So Miami, Baltimore, 19 points combined. They had fewer points combined than Oakland did, and they lost. Minnesota Rams, they had 20, so that's fewer than Oakland. Pittsburgh, Washington, that was fewer than Oakland's score. Well, Denver, Miami, and the Battle of Pittsburgh had 30 points or so. Now it's time for Pittsburgh versus Dallas. The big matchup. Hurt the game, and that's on offense. Very Bradshaw, pivot, Frank Blair, player, Rick passes hurt. Lynch one, Donnie Shell, very A. Brown. I wonder if it's okay. Yeah, Shell's response playing this game. Gordon Graffel, I think Gordon Graffel, I keep thinking he's from Canada, he's not. Jim Platt, Ray Mansfield, Drew Mullins, and Johnny Cole. That's line, Dallas. There's two tall Jones, Larry Cole, Jeffrey Pugh, and Harvey Martin at D-line. Linebackers, Leroy Jordan, D.D. Lewis, and Dave Edwards. Mel Renfro, Cliff Harris, Trey Waters, and Mark Washington. This is actually crazy. They gave the Super Bowl 10 rematch. It was all random. So we have a Super Bowl 10 rematch, one of the best Super Bowls around. 8 yards for Franco. Roger Dodgers fell back at pivot. Robert Newhouse and Preston Pearson, your running backs, Drew Pearson, Willie Richards, and John Fugate. Ralph Neely playing 9, John Fitzgerald, Vernon Lawless, and Rayfield Ray are goal line. Pittsburgh's team line is Elsie Greenwood, Ernie Holmes, and Joe Green. His wife, White, is still hurt. Alongside Jack Ham, Andy Russell, and Jackie Lambert. Linebackers. Mel Blind, Glenn Edwards, Mike Weinberg, J.T. Thomas, and DBs.
First down. First down.
Flag on the play.
False start. Offense.
Flag on the play.
Holding. Defense. First down.
Touchdown, Cowboys.
Illegal use of hands. Defense.
Touchdown, Cowboys. Flag on the play.
False start. Offense.
Why would you do that?
The extra point is good.
10 tie.
First down. Receiving team. Timeout offense. First down. Timeout
It's good.
Got it! Are you serious? 48. Woo. Short time. That was a good game. And the defense did it. Crash it at the 1 yard line and they fumbled. Oh, that will hurt. 5 turnovers by Dallas and they still won the game. How? Still about 12 for 21, 36. Touchdown, 3 receptions. For Bradshaw, 10 for 19 and 27. Still about Pearson, field goal, drill fresh. A pick 6 by Allen for Pittsburgh, tied it. And then Fresh with the 48-yard field goal. How do you do that? 23 points. Yeah, Oakland scored 23 points lost. And this did not even increase to 70. 75 Cowboys? Yeah, 77 Cowboys. Drives Pittsburgh. That fumble in the red zone will cost them forever because they were at the 3-yard line and then they fumbled it. It's got to be sheet. It's the strangest crap. It's like the first game of 6 had a fumble return, but picked scoop and score, and the last game had a fumble at the inside the 5, and that ended up being the game. So what a job. Summary wise, Roger Dodger, 71 Dallas with his touchdowns and all that. Loser Offensive Player of the Week, 108 yards running for Dwayne Thomas of the 71 Cowboys. Manny Fernandez, Defensive Player of the Week for the 73 Dolphins. And Tony Frisch, the Special Teams Player of the Week. After all, he did hit a 48-yard field goal when he needed to. Ken Stabler, 286 passing, led everything. Dwayne Thomas, 108, the only 100-yard guy. So to recap, the 71 Cowboys won 35-23 using 5 touchdowns and scoring 35 points, more than any team's games combined. And that, yeah, 7 games combined. In the 7 games that were not Dallas and Oakland, the highest point total combined was 31, and Dallas scored 35 by themselves in the late rain, although I didn't think there would be late rain. So the 77 Cowboys went off screen in overtime over the 78 Cowboys. 73 Dolphins win 10-9 thanks to the scoop and score of Manny Fernandez. The 76 Vikings win 13-7 a close defensive battle. 79 Pirates. I knew I would say that. Steelers winning 10-0 on a defensive move. They're joined by the 78 Steelers, who won 17-13 over their 74 Doppelgangers. The 75 team lost 13-10 to Dallas. Of course, that fumble cost them dearly. And Denver beat Miami somehow in some way. So now we got to go to the quarters. Poof. So Dallas, Miami. Aw, man, we have 2. Well, the good news in a sense is we know, yeah, the Pittsburgh teams have to play each other and the Dallas teams have to play each other. We have to autoplay those 2 games. Oh, hey. Well, there'll be a lot more attention to Miami, Minnesota, and Dallas, Denver because, what can you do? Autoplay? Because the 2 Dallas teams and 71 Cowboys won 16-10 thanks to Dwayne Thomas's 2 touchdown runs. He almost got 100 yards again. The Battle of Pittsburgh sees the 79 squad win 31-7 thanks to Frankel's 2 touchdown runs. The team that, what was the team? 79 Pittsburgh. Yeah, they beat the 72 Cowboys. Yeah, 31-7. So 79 Pittsburgh wins. So we know one Dallas team and one Pittsburgh team is win. Miami, Minnesota, we know that they're the only entries, so we'll see a Miami or Minnesota team in the Final Four. Dallas, will they have 2 teams in the semis, or will Denver make it 1? And then it'll make it a little more easy, and hopefully the 71 Cowboys and the 71 and the 75 Cowboys don't have to bump into each other, because that would be critical, very critical. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.